A dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Global Enlightenment Radio Network. My name is Eric, and this is another episode of the First Earth Militia. And we're getting close to the wire, folks. It's January 4th, and January 6th is the deadline. By any definition, I don't care what team you are for or what team you are against. If at this stage of the game you aren't mad as hell, where are you at? Where are you from? So I'm very interested to hear from you folks that have an opinion on what's going to be happening between now and the 6th. So if you want to call in, the lines are open. You can call in at 929-436-2866. That's 929-436-2866. Or if you want to just jump right into the Zoom ID meeting, hopefully you're at work. Damn the man. Join the Zoom meeting and get paid to give your opinion. The Zoom meeting ID number is 522-657-2748. Do the right thing. Damn the man. So this week we have pandemonium going on. I see a lot of folks with a lot of opinions about, trust this plan or screw the Cheeto guy and stuff like that. I just say from a higher level, it's business as usual. The water in the pot is boiling and getting warmer and warmer, and none of you are paying attention. You're all at each other's throats. You're all being antagonized. Everybody's saying the exact same thing, that I see everyone's getting mad. Everyone's madder than usual. Something's weird. Yeah, something's weird. It's called directed energy weapons. It's called Welcome to World War III. It's called the battlefield of the mind. You are under attack. You're losing all of the battles and the war. You don't see the forest for the leaves. You guys are all bickering about this leaf or that leaf and the details that you see from your perspective. And you're not wrong. You're just too focused. You're very concentrated on your own perspective, and that's a big thing that the system does, is promote selfishness, to give priority of your perspective over that of those around you. And while it's important to maintain your perspective as your own individual and original experience, you must also integrate with those around you and express to them your experience while understanding that all of theirs also have value. Your perspective most certainly can't be that singularly correct for you to have figured it out in your lifespan. So let's talk with folks and let's figure out things between now and then and understand, in a way, we can't all be right and we can't all be wrong. but we've been very well divided right now, so that it certainly looks like somehow 50% of us nailed it and 50% of us got it totally dead wrong. What are the odds of that, folks, if that doesn't show direct manipulation of the minds of the population, that we can be so diametrically opposed? Has anybody heard of the Libertarian Party anymore? You know, the third party that was running for a little bit, got popular for a slight little bit when they needed that little card to pop up. Anyone know who the Libertarian Party candidate was for this election? Call in, let me know. The idea that someone else is going to fix your problems is inherently the problem right now. A lot of folks think the Republicans have it nailed. The rest of the folks think the Democrats have it nailed and have all the answers. But the entirety of that number set is still looking for other people to fix their problems. That's the two-step, folks. If you're going to be in that group that is always looking for other people to fix your problems, they're always going to come up with the solutions, so to say. But they're also going to wind up coming up with the problems. That's what's referred to as the Hegelian dialectic, and that's known as problem, reaction, solution, or thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. And it's just, we're seeing this every single day. We've been warned so many times over. You've heard the battle cry so many times. If this was going on, if somebody knew this was going on, someone would say something. They are saying stuff, folks. You're not listening. There's so many people saying stuff. The question actually goes in the other direction. The fact of the matter is all of these things are going on, and people have been saying it with regularity for decades. How come it is that you are unaware of it? I have volumes of books. There's many more books that I wish that I read. Those are just books. There's videos. There's seminars that occur. There's all kinds of disclosure. All these people now, oh, I want disclosure. When are we going to get disclosure? It's always been being disclosed. I always like to say you can lead a horse. There's the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Similarly, you can say you can lead a man to knowledge, but you cannot make him think. And so many folks are being led to knowledge every single day. The burden of responsibility is for you to now wrap your head around the new information and absorb it, give it at least mull it over. I forget who said back in the day, but they said something to the effect of it's the sign of a sharp intellect to be able to consider an idea even without supporting it. And we don't get that exercised a lot today in society. People, if they can't immediately support an idea, they reject it, put the burden of proof on you, and effectively have never even considered it, which is very, very unfortunate because it just shows that they lack the intellect to be up at that level of the conversation. And since they won't engage in all of the truth in their surrounding reality, and it becomes that obvious on the front end of a conversation because they can be so challenging with new information, it leads me to believe they are underinformed and probably lack the discernment with the information that they have to boot. So I don't know about you, Odin, but I see this as an issue in society as of late for all the division in society being amped up. I mean, is it hard for you to see that?
Oh my God. Let's talk about here in D.C. Washington, D.C., your nation's capital. It's a beautiful city full of people that are just, you have ignorance running around the whole atmospheric pressure points of D.C. from the White House all the way down to every divisional area of DC. You got people now saying, "We voted wrong. We want Trump," and all this political stuff is taking more hold of their life than anything else. I mean, where's spirituality at? Where is take care of your fellow man? Where is being human? It's not in existence. I was at work on New Year's night, and I had to got called in. I mean, hearing gunshots, seeing going across the bridge, going to my mom's, because I thought, yeah, I wouldn't be able to make it home over here tonight. So I was going to see my mom, and as I was getting ready to cross the bridge, I saw a flood of people running towards the bridge. And as I looked up, I saw blue flashing lights, blue and red, blue and red. And I'm looking and I'm hearing, brah, brah. This is what your society has come to. I mean, this
is modern America.
It's a war zone, and it's not just a physical war zone. It's an intellectual war zone. It's almost like the haves and have-nots, the Hatfields and McCoys. It's ridiculous. Yeah. There's the lack of.
I think that's the.
I was going to say the lack of intellectual conversation versus the crap I hear. I mean, neither party is correct. No one's got the answer. But what we can say is one thing: people are so scared to blame their governors. They rather point at the orange man.
Right, they are.
The orange man.
They are quick to pass the buck. That's society nowadays. You nailed it. They're quick to pass the buck.
I mean, Ramona put something on Facebook, and I wish I could pull it up right now. And it was about, the single family and, the woman with a child and how much she makes. She makes $800 every 2 weeks, and she tallied the bills up. And I'm sitting there like, what do you want the federal government to do for that? That's not the federal government's problem. That's your governor. The one that governs the land that you're on, the one that is the seer of the land, governor. Catch the word, people.
And I'm sorry, I missed what you said. What was this money coming from and for?
A single mother working, and she's not able to make her bills. Well, like I said, if there was any assistance needed, it should have came from the state that she dwells in. But they want to look towards the federal government.
I can follow the logic that is not the responsibility of the federal government. I would just continue the logic to being that it's also not the responsibility of the local government either. I would say the local people in any community should live in such abundance that they can provide charity in the community that they need. So no, we don't need to have charity coming across the nation. That can't be very efficient. No, but we could have it done locally, but I don't think it needs to come through the tax base at all.
Well, I mean,
I think there are other avenues that could be created. I get it requires a lot of change in the society that we're in and is very idealistic, but without first admitting that that's a better ideal for a society, we'll never get there.
Well, here in Washington, D.C., for people of low income, they actually ask people to add a couple of cents to their water bill so that somebody else that has cannot afford the water bill can be assisted. I don't know where that money goes.
At least that's asking.
Yeah, it's asking, but you on the other
Fair
side,
enough, at least
you don't know where it goes, though. You know what I mean? Companies.
But at least at that point, that's at least an accounting problem exclusively, not a theft of property issue.
Right. And the idea that people want to help others, but the truth is, it's a trust factor. I mean, they've been scammed for years. People have been scammed out of their money, supposedly helping someone else. And that right there idea is out the water because of the fear of getting used and abused and scammed by others. So the humanitarians out there
that medical thing that we just had happen in the last administration.
There you go. There you go. Yep. Identical.
How'd that work out for everybody? It's something about how'd that go? If you like your health care, this was the part that was interesting. He said, I think if I remember correctly, he said, if you like your health care, you can keep it, I think he said.
Keep it.
But I don't think that worked for everybody, really.
Oh.
That's what I think, if I remember correctly, that was the quote.
Yeah, you could keep it. That's what Obama said.
I remember hearing that
Yeah.
back in the day. But I don't know that actually worked out for the people that liked their health care and wanted to keep it.
No, it didn't. I mean, it's like Ron Reagan said, the government's here to save you. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's the government. We're here to help.
Well, that's why I try to get people to shift the idea off the federal. Maybe we can get them to, the slow steps of de-easing the supposed dream that the federal government is here to do everything for them. Let's try this. You live in a state. Look at your state. Now, hold on. How about this? Let's look at your county. How about this? Look at your little local district. I mean, if your state wasn't charging so much in taxes, because you're getting state, local, federal, and county tax all in one package, and you're looking at the federal government saying, hold on, but I'm getting taxed 19%. But hold on, when you look back at your state taxes, they all add up, don't they? They're over, what, 30%? I mean, people are not looking, they always look to the federal government and blame them for everything. Oh, the price of cigarettes went up. There's a cigarette tax. Trump did it. But no, he didn't make your state raise taxes on cigarettes or alcohol or anything. It was your state that did it. Why don't you argue that way, people? And start from the bottom and work your way up. Get together with your local people and communicate with each other. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't know how to without shooting at each other or trying to kill each other or arguing over an opinion. Get a fact out there.
Anything you add the state to in the equation for getting stuff done, it's just more hands in the mix that have to be paid out. And technically, sorry, but in the big picture of how the contracts pan out, when you're trying to get the tasks accomplished, they also turn out to be the most expensive aspect when you look at the participants, because they're all government contractors who have amazing payrolls and packages
and friends
that are now forced into the equation because of the government aspect. But it doesn't mean that government was required to get the job done. Prior to having the tax base and all of the deep pockets to fund all the things that the government now has its hands in, the government just simply didn't have its hands in things because it wasn't funded to do so. It's literally that simple. If you stop cutting checks to the government, they'll go away. Every year they flip out and they go, oh, we're not going to pass the budget. The government will go away. Cool. That sounds awesome. Do that immediately. Let's start all over again. Let it go away.
Yeah, let it fall.
Here's an idea. Here's how you fix the issue with our tax structure and overreaching government and people's opinions. Everybody's opinion can be respected. Here's the simple plan. Tax everyone the same amount that they're getting taxed right now. Don't change that one yet. We'll even make this so simple. So let's just say, for argument's sake, Odin, let's say you were fortunate enough to live in D.C. and pay $10,000 a year in taxes, which you wish. So let's say you paid $10,000 a year in taxes.
I wish. Sorry.
But now you get a checklist. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you pay way more than that.
Yeah,
so you get a checklist now, though, with your tax burden. And what they do is they list every government program that exists. And you take your $10,000 and you distribute it into the programs that you want to fund, however you want.
Oh, wow. That would be beautiful.
And everyone does that.
Oh.
Yeah. So then everyone gets that sheet Everybody sees what BS departments exist, and now you vote with your dollar. And if your department doesn't get funded, guess what? The people don't want you. That's the answer right there. You're gone.
So we could say goodbye to the Department of
But
Agriculture.
that's too easy, right?
Yeah, that's too easy. But we could say goodbye to the Department of Agriculture. I mean, those guys.
Whoever
most of those people have been
funded goes away.
Okay, well, most of those people have been there for like 40 years, and some of them don't even know what they're doing. I mean, they sit there and they've been there literally 40 years. I know 2 people there that have been there for 40 years. I mean, that's a double retirement under the old plan.
I would imagine most departments would start trying to have to prove their worth or risk being underfunded.
There are people out there in this world that don't know why their job even exists.
Totally.
And you know, I honestly see it as a way that your tax money gets seeped into somebody else's pocket or some organization's pocket, then diverse out to someone else's pocket who needs to make $190,000 a year while sitting on his candy ass. Excuse my language.
I learned a hard lesson many years ago. A good friend that I grew up with, we're BSing one afternoon, just jack-jawing about our jobs and stuff. And he says to me, he goes, wow, that's amazing. He goes, every job that you've ever had, he goes, it's like you do everything to earn every dollar that your boss is paying you. And he's like, but when I go to work, he goes, I try to do as little as possible as I can for what I'm getting paid. And that just blew my mind that, like, our brains were in totally different places. And until that moment, I didn't really truly know that existed. Somebody, like, I got that someone might not be trying as hard, but I never really crossed my mind that somebody was literally trying to do as little as possible at work. It still blows my mind that, like, there's probably way more of that out there than I can even begin to imagine.
Well, think about these kids out there wanting to make $20 an hour.
Callers, call in if you're completely lazy and don't give a damn about anything. Please.
Call in, please.
Please, for the first time in your life.
If you are a kid out there, you want to make $20 an hour, call in.
Your life.
Call in. Come on.
Get on the phone, call 929-436-2866 or Zoom meeting ID at 522-652748. You lazy son of a gun.
I swear, man. I have never experienced anybody that would duck work to get paid. I've never seen that. I've worked my tail off.
Okay.
Sweat.
Yeah, blew my mind.
I've been in attics there in California that was 120 plus degrees.
Oof.
I've stood on top of roof. Oh, we got a caller. I've been on roofs. I've been on roofs in California, Northern California, looking down to Ravenous about, over 200 feet down, doing roofing. And you going to tell me there are people out there trying to shift the job?
Yep. Hey there, caller on the line.
Caller.
Hello. This is
How's your day
Ramona
going?
speaking. Is it?
I'm not hearing you, caller.
Me, the caller.
We got 832 calling in.
Yeah.
Area code 832. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yes, now we can.
Okay. I just wanted to respond to Daryl.
Oh, geez. Here we go. I know who this is.
Me too.
Well, you brought my name up, so, I'm going to respond. First of all, that post that was there was directed to people like you who always manages to downgrade people that have less, that is without, or find themselves homeless or in a situation. This has been a rough year for a lot of people. And I wasn't There was no mention of any government assistance whatsoever on that. But since you brought it up, yes, the state government does handle the welfare and food stamps. You know, our money, taxpayers' money, goes into funds like this for the purpose that we have no control over, although we should be able to allocate where we want our tax monies to go.
Amen.
Amen. I agree. That's exactly what I was saying.
Let's
have
so,
this side.
You know, but unfortunately, we don't, because they do whatever the hell they want to with our tax money.
So what do you think about the plan that I presented, Ramona, where if you got a sheet every year, where if they said, hey, Ramona, you owe us $5,000 in taxes, but if they gave you a sheet and you can pick out which programs that you took your money and put it towards, would you prefer that so that your money didn't go to programs that you didn't support?
Yeah,
cool.
I would prefer that if there was some way to still verify it, because nobody trusts the government anymore.
Oh, I got you. But I agree. Accounting's still a whole separate issue, right? Because even if you wanted to take all your money and give it to a church, that church could still spend it poorly, and you would still want proper accounting. So accounting is a separate problem. The issue I'm basically addressing here by my hypothetical is, in one situation, they're basically taking your tax dollars and doing whatever they want. And it's technically at the point of a gun, because good luck not paying your taxes. So yes, a church could also mismanage your funds. But fortunately, right now, we don't have priests mandating that you give money to the church under the threat of the barrel of a weapon or imprisonment.
They say you're going to hell.
Yeah, what if other organizations had the ability to mandate charity as much as the government did? Why are they so privileged?
I don't know, but I do know that, like, the Mormon Church and the Catholic Church do provide a lot of help for the poor under their charitable works, or people. A lot of people do go to one of those institutions for help because you can't get it in your local environment. But I'd say those are probably the only churches that actually give back to their parishioners. And also, Eric, you asked what the last libertarian candidate was. It was Joe Jorgensen. I put it in the chat.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then I do just want to jump in for the charity and the churches, because I absolutely believe in giving credit where credit is due. So all of these people, Ramona, that you know that are doing charity, that are related to the Catholic Church organization, I want to first and foremost give thanks to them and respect those individuals that do that. But I am going to completely thumb my nose at the organization known as the Catholic Church as having a positive impact on the negative aspects of our society, as they claim to when they hold their hand out in one direction and close the door in the other every day. Because the Catholic Church is singly, the Roman Catholic Church is singly the richest organization in the world right now, both in liquid assets and real estate. If they wanted to do all of the things that they said they wanted to accomplish, they could do it tomorrow. They're lying child molesters.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah. They're about the most disingenuous organization on the planet for thousands of years.
Did you have to add child molesters to it?
Yeah, I did actually have to add child molesters to the Roman Catholic Church. Am I in error?
And other churches
the Roman Catholic Church is full of pedophiles. Am I the first one to hear this?
No. But I also know it's not only the Roman Catholic Church either. So let's spread that honor around.
Well, they only let me go to 13 years in one school when I was growing up, Ramona. If they gave me a shot at some other organization, I would be glad to give intel on that one. I can only speak from my experience.
No, yeah. The LDS Church of Latter-day Saints is now in a situation where they are handling a class action suit against
Get out of here. There's an
very
organization collecting money saying it's going to do good in the community, and they're mismanaging it?
No, there's been some problems with pedophiles.
Yeah.
That's come to
You mean
surface.
sister wives? You trying
Yeah.
to tell me I can't have a sister wife?
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. Our founding fathers were geniuses because of one of the most simple things they ever came across was the separation of church and state. Could you imagine if we didn't separate them, how screwed up this country would be if they were actually allowed to mingle?
Yeah, but it seems like they are joined at the hip.
It sure
Now.
does. It sure does.
You know, you could have fooled me that they were separate, you know.
They've never been separate.
Pretty obvious that for thousands of years, politicians and religious sects have been working hand in hand. I mean, we had the Crusades, we had everything. Everything goes hand in hand with politics and religion.
Yeah, it does. You know, because man is fallible, and he's subject to temptation.
Fallible.
Which, yeah.
That's a big word.
I'm following along, Ramona. Keep firing away. Odin will catch up.
I think man's just dirty, but that's okay. We know what we're doing. Ain't no fallacy in there. We do exactly what we did when we did it.
Well, in following religion, infallibility, and infallibility, oddly enough, the Roman Catholic Church considers the Pope, that would be the Pope for you, Odin. They consider the Pope infallible.
Hold on. How can he be infallible when...
Have you never heard this?
I don't want to... Listen.
No, the Pope is not...
The Roman Catholic Church, the Pope is considered infallible. He's unable to make a mistake. So therefore, his decisions are always correct.
It's the word
Well,
of
my
God.
mother would tell you that she's unable to make a mistake in our organization called My Family. So what does that mean? Nothing.
It means you have a pontiff.
That is very fallible.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. Her words ring clear. And even when she's wrong, she's right.
That's great. Every family's got one of those. Sometimes two of them. When there's two of them, it could be more interesting.
Oh, it could be a war.
See, and this is the thing, Eric, I want to know. Having said all of this, I mean, is there really a solution, or is this so far screwed up that there's no coming back from it?
There's totally a solution. The solution's so simple. Stop engaging the BS. It's literally that simple. So I forget where I keep bringing up this topic in different places, but one of the other countries, I think it was Denmark, recently was going through all of this BS, lockdowns, blah, blah, blah. They didn't want anything to do with it. They took it as the shenanigans that it was presented as. They simply, as an entire nation, stood down. No one went to work. No one left their houses. No one left their yards, so to say. They just stood outside in the front yard banging on pots and pans as a testimony to they're not listening. They're just not going to listen. So when you say, what do people have to do? That's just don't comply. All of this, all the BS that we're hearing, if we all get together and agree we're not doing this BS anymore, that's the answer. It's that simple.
Key word, if we all get together. But this is one of the most divisive countries in the world.
I just pointed that out, that another country was able to, with ease, get together.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm agreeing with you that, yes, we have a situation of divisiveness. This is kind of why I'm here for the show, First Earth Militia, to let everyone know they're already under attack. The division is apparent, right? You see it. I see it.
Yep.
Right. So that's completely unnatural because normal human beings wouldn't be acting this way. Okay?
Nope.
So there's an unnatural thing going on. I would say those are weapons.
Yep.
Look into how what I'm saying can be true. how can someone impact the mood of thousands of people at great distance? You would say, that's crazy technological Star Wars stuff. And I would say,
That's
no,
easy.
it's stuff that exists right now that
Right
is
now.
meant for war zone use only. But guess what? You're being lied to again.
As usual.
As usual. It turns out that when bad people have access to things and they have the choice to use it or not, it turns out history shows us they use it. That when they have the option to do bad, when we investigate people and it turns out we go, well, what is it that they did? Just simply look at what they had the options to do and then ask if they exercised it or not. And it turns out whenever we investigate anybody, it turns out whatever they had access to, they exercised. So now we have all of these amazing weapons that exist in the realm of mind manipulation.
Yeah.
Don't take my words for it, folks. I've done videos on it, presentations, deciphering my experience on my YouTube channel. Has everything about directed energy weapons, how we're already in World War III right now. And there's folks that have been working with the U.S. government, whistleblowers discussing everything. You have folks like Andrew Basaggio. You have James Giordano. These are big names in neuro weapons. It's not a joke. You're just not in on it. It's like George Carlin said back in the day. It's a big, giant club, and you're not in it.
In it.
Simple. If you're not investing in directed energy weapons, if you're not actively looking up the technology that exists today, HARP, LRAD, look up what an LRAD is, folks. Oh, by the way, LRAD changed their name to make it harder for them to look up. Now it's called Genesis, I think with a Y, Genesis, Genysis or something. Genesis Weapons. Yeah, they have a great YouTube page, and they'll show you all their wares and what they do for crowd control and how you can take out thousands of people at great distance with an invisible energy beam. Products are for sale right now. You can also look up on YouTube how to make an LRAD at home, which is, for those that don't know, the Genesis systems and the LRADs are a long-range acoustical device. And basically, it is to sound what laser is to light. It focuses sound in a way that, let's say, in a crowd of thousands of people, if you're considered to be a rebel rouser, they can focus you out singularly, and you'll be the only one negatively impacted by this acoustic device. Really? It's not considered a lethal weapon because the dial can actually be turned down. You don't have to be killed. But if they do turn the dial all the way up, it's a whole different party. Oh, and they don't actually have to just put it singularly on you. They can turn it on the entire crowd and make you feel like you're all in a microwave. That's one thing they can do with it.
Hey, Derek, I got a question. You remember that booming sound they were talking about all those years ago, like 4 years ago they were hearing in Canada and all over the world? They were hearing this boom sound in clouds, and they try to make it another experience. Could that have been an energy weapon?
It could have been an acoustic test, simply. Don't get me wrong. I'm not even trying to focus. I'm not trying to suggest that I know exactly what it is. I'm just throwing out. This is right off of the top of my head. This is how this stuff works on so many levels. Right off the top of my head, I think it could have just been an acoustic test. They could have been dialing in your community to see if you guys heard an LRAD transmission. Every single one of you may have received it as a sound that you perceived as far away. But effectively, it was just a test of a device to make you all hear the same sound. And if everybody reports it back and goes, hey, did we all hear that weird sound last night? Then they have little infiltrators in the area that get a feedback response, because no test is good if you can't get actionable intelligence. Like, you need feedback.
So the police departments use LRAD.
Yes,
they sure do.
And people don't realize that.
They
and
don't.
Also, too, the sound can kill you.
Absolutely.
Like from those sonic booms, they can create air embolisms in your lungs, which will travel to your heart and kill you. People need to wake up, but the thing is that it's there, and it just seems to the average person, that is, what the hell can I do? You know,
Right.
if all of this is out there, which it is, and it's being used, what the hell?
Exactly. It's just everybody needs to raise their perspective. And I mean, in like a literal sense, almost like get your view up higher. Stop looking so low, and
At your neighbor.
things can be greater and more complex. This is a discussion that I had recently with someone about Occam's razor, and this is it's something it's utilized inappropriately. And in the conversation, I was talking to the other gentleman. It turns out he had the definition correct, but what I was taking umbrage with is that what people do is, so the definition of Occam's razor is basically the idea that the simplest thing is the reason or the truth or whatever. That is the idea of Occam's razor, but the idea is contemporary, and it came from Occam way back when, was really the idea of shaving off stuff slice by slice with a razor until you get to the root of a problem. And yes, eventually you'll get to the simplest thing in time, but you can't just go right there to it. You'll get there eventually, but you first need to cut off everything that's not possible. So here we are today. Yes, we live in an Occam's razor society, unfortunately, because we've been doing it wrong for a long time and presuming things to be simpler. That inappropriately keeps us focused in on what we believe to be possible, not what can be possible. It's like we've already sliced off all of the pieces without ever actually addressing anything, because we're just instantaneously looking for the simplest solution, which is almost never actually the truth. The presupposition of Occam's razor is a complete presupposition nowadays. Just because you want something to be simpler doesn't make it so in the slightest.
That's a shame.
Everything's always more complex. Look what's going on around us. We keep getting told, basically, from either side, right? From either side is being told, don't worry, we got this. Just hang out, hang in there. Don't worry, we got this. That's basically teaching both sides to be complacent and apathetic and trusting in others to fix their problems. That's the wrong thing to do for both sides, folks. Stop believing that your politicians have the remedy for everything. Stop looking outside of your community. Stop looking halfway across the country for someone to fix your problems in your community. You're out of your minds.
That's a shame. I'm sorry. If people are looking for the government or anybody outside of you and your community to support you, I mean, back in the old days, they used to all get together and send a child to college.
Yeah.
Or at least pay for the first year.
Yeah. You forget about
to have rent parties, you know. And in our community, there are a few people, my parents happen to be one of them, that actually, you know, do things to help our community, the children in our community. But it's not enough, you know, more people need to be involved.
I would really like to believe that more people would be involved in charity in their locale if they had more abundance. I also believe they lack abundance because of overreaching theft of property through taxation.
Exactly.
You know, I think if everybody had all of their own money, if everybody had the fruits of their labors, they would then, first and foremost, have to be completely responsible for their budget, right? So presuming that they're a good person and they're abundant, I would believe they would be charitable. I also believe that in that same functioning system, that if somebody didn't have it to give, they would want to learn to be in a better position to accomplish that you would have less people slacking off. They would want to be motivated to be like the other people in their community.
Yeah.
That's my belief. I have that conviction in human nature that if they were allowed to function that way, they would do well by each other.
It's like we have, and need to bring that also.
I'm losing you, Ramona. You got to get closer to the mic, I think.
Oh, I said, just like we had the barter system, they need to bring that back.
Yeah. The barter
because
system.
there was nothing wrong with, it's using commercialism, Oh, well, let me do this, I think more that way, and so on and so forth.
There's nothing wrong with bartering right now, Ramona. If people want to save a fortune in California, start bartering. Stop paying taxes. Taxation is for transactions where currency is exchanged in a cash value. There's no taxation on a bartering change. So if it turns out that you can figure out how to barter for your goods, and if you're in a state where you're losing 25% of your income to taxes, well, if you start learning how to barter, guess what? You've just increased your gross revenue for the year by 25%. And guess what? I'll give you a hint. Go to Craigslist. There's in the for sale section, there's a spot called barter. You can start bartering. It actually works really well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that idea. I love that idea.
There's a lot of things people can do to become more self-sufficient. You can go. Here's a brilliant thing for people that are very hard on their luck. These are tips for 2021 from someone who had a hard 2020. If you're going to have a rough 2021, pay attention. Here's how you get free life back. Go onto Craigslist. There's a section called free. Get whatever you can get. And then go in the barter section and start trading up or selling stuff. You'll live. And then if you get really, really cool stuff, start making things better. Go to the free section, get junky furniture, sand it. Put a coat of shellac on it. Now you went from $5 investment to I just got $150 for an end table. So times do get tough, folks, and people can get scrappy. So figure out what you got to figure out. No discounting. Do what you got to do. I've spent most of my life as a plumber, so there's no task that you're going to basically put below me. I don't look down my nose on anybody. If you do it for a living, I would do that for a living too. So it just is what it is. We all have to get by in life. So if there's anything that I can do for tips and tricks, if you're having a rough year, you can call in for that one too. Everybody's got hard days. That's what we're supposed to do, is help each other out.
Just so positive, aren't you?
They should have a section. They should have a section on Craigslist, actually, like just straight up, like help I need, and then fill in the blank. And if somebody can give it, then they just give it. Maybe they have that section. I don't know. I know it's called free, and people could certainly go roam. I mean, it is what it is. But
we actually have that in our neighborhood. We have a neighborhood online communications, and we do put looking for such and such, and the giveaways, and who's looking for work, who does certain type of work and stuff like that. So we're starting. It's a slow process.
We used to have at the South Pole Station. We had, in Antarctica, they have a bird it's called skua, S-K-U-A. And it's like a gigantic seagull. They're huge. And they're savages. They're scavengers, big time, and they're not afraid of people at all. And they're known for being scavengers. So at the South Pole Station, we would have certain little areas and rooms and stuff, and we would call them skua, for scavengers, basically. But what the idea is, by the time anything makes it to the South Pole Station, at that point, it's rare, whatever it is. I mean, it could be a pair of boots, it could be a hat, it could be gloves, it could be a record, a CD, headphones, anything. Once it's there, that's goods. So the idea is like, if you're going home and you don't really need that stuff, can you just leave that here? There's going to be other people coming here someday. They're going to need that stuff sometime in the winter.
And that CD is always helpful.
Yeah. So they have like spots called SCUA where you can just put anything you want in SCUA and you can take anything you want out of SCUA. And that was grand. And I feel like communities should have that too in a way, or even digitally, some version of SCUA where people can just like, hey, I got this to give away, and other people can be like, hey, I'm looking for such and such.
I was wondering, they used to have the community farms. Now, I've always seen them. They got one in my area right here at Global Park, and I don't know what they do. I mean, do they give the food away? Or what are they doing? I mean,
that's accounting.
That's accounting. Mm-hmm.
But that's where people should be involved in their community. I mean, not for nothing, in the big picture of things, there's no lack of food anywhere. And if you're resourceful enough, you don't have to pay for food. All the manufacturers and distributors already have such excesses, and they're already obligated to redistribute things before expiration dates and garbage dumps and stuff like that. So food banks, all kinds of things they're always full of food because they have to be. The distributors are required to do these things. You could theoretically spend the rest of your life feeding your entire family with great ease and never spending a nickel for it. There's already people that know this. They do it all day long. Now, I'm not saying it's the greatest food in the world. I mean, I don't know that you necessarily want to be giving your kids this stuff right off the shelf. And, General Mills and Cheerios may sound healthy in one capacity, but it's highly debatable. But you can get that stuff for free, technically. Cheerios, Campbell's soup, all the basic things, the basic, American staples of life.
What about rice and potatoes?
Yeah. All that stuff. There's ways to get every bit of it. This is the commodities market, and the way that this country is run now is a sin. It's an atrocity compared to what our founding fathers had intended.
Yep.
This is disgraceful.
It's good. There's no more epitome of the disgrace of our nation than right now. I mean, it's just getting worse and worse every single day. Literally, it's like today was a more disgraceful day for our once great nation than it was yesterday. There are more and more political personages that are being brought to light for corruption in every direction. Is just a testament to how far we have fallen from what our founding fathers intended, who, by the way, were militiamen that created our country, lest we forget how that went down. The words of great Norm Olson from our previous episodes, that the militia is the parent and the government is the child. We, the people, came first and put pen to paper to create a government, and that paperwork is shackles for the government, not the reverse. The militia, the people, are in command and control of this nation first and foremost. If the government fails us, we make a correction, not the reverse.
It's a shame when we actually believe that the government can shadow over the population that made it possible for them to even have a job.
Right.
But we're out there begging for jobs in more ways than one. And
Right.
we got a caller, area code 681.
681 area code.
Yeah.
Come on in, 681.
Greetings.
Can you hear me now?
Hello, caller.
Tell them to unmute.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, caller 681 area code.
Hello. Oh, how are you doing? Okay, yeah, I didn't know if I was in or not.
You are
Did I
in.
get her in there?
You're
in
there.
here.
Good. Good, because sometimes my sister don't hold still long enough for me to get in there, so I thought I wouldn't in. Sorry about that.
No worries.
How
We
you
hear
guys doing?
loud and clear. What do you got for us?
Well, I don't know. I was calling to see what y'all was talking about. I just come into the stream and I wasn't too sure what was going on, so I was curious. I'm a curious person.
Well, I guess we're talking about how everything sucks right now. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh well, that is for sure.
Sweetie, is that the you calling?
Yeah, honey, I'm calling to see what these people talking about. Yeah, everything sucks. That's for sure. I've been stuck here with my sister for like the last year. It feels like.
Whereabouts are you?
Oh, sure. Oh,
Well, I'm in South Florida. Well, I guess that'd be North Georgia. No, it's like south of Florida. It's right there in the middle.
10-4. Hey, that's in the swamp. That's not the swamp they're talking about draining, though, is it?
No, I don't. I think they're doing it lower down. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
so.
I don't. They can't drain it up here. Where Lake Lanier'd back up, I guess, and then they'd
Fair
be
enough.
flooded upstream.
Wow.
Fair enough. I've actually
Yeah,
been
I don't think that'd work.
I've been over in that area a few times actually, and truth be told, I was actually crossing the Georgia-Florida border when Katrina was happening.
Oh, no joking. Really?
I was
Well,
driving.
that's that was a bad time, man.
I-95, crossing the Georgia border into Florida when Katrina was happening, and boy, I can tell you, it looked like hell was on the horizon.
Oh, it tore the mountainsides up all the way up through there. I mean, by the time it was over, it demolished a bunch of stuff, tore roofs off buildings and everything else.
Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts about tensions? I've been talking lately. This is my channel here that you jumped on is called the First Earth Militia, and my name is Eric, and I am basically coming from a direction that everyone has been bamboozled. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you fall on. I would suggest that all of the parties are failing their patrons, and that my perspective is that we, the people, which is the militia of the nation, first and foremost, that the militia is the parent and the government is the child, and that right now we're just witnessing a belligerent child. And that effectively, once we, the people, understand the true responsibility of our role in the equation, we will effectively reprimand the child and bring things back to correct.
That's why God made guns.
That's right. I amen to that one, brother.
Understood. I mean, that's the importance of the Second Amendment.
honey, will you come put it in my blood?
Militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
What about homosexual?
What the heck does that have to do with the conversation?
homosexual? Is that okay?
Are you the small wanker guy?
What about the niggers?
I think they got the big wankers.
I think you got some classy.
What about the black people? Black people, no?
Hey, hello, my name is Jasper. Hang the niggers.
You had your
Hey,
first
Odin,
troll.
you might want to do something about that, no?
You had your first troll. You made it to the world of trolldom. How does it feel?
You cannot silence us.
And when you're done with third grade,
Fourth
grade's rough, huh, bro?
Yeah, trolls. They get good.
Adios mio.
Ay, amigos.
Hey, so there's no way for you to communicate with someone before they get on the air to find out that they're completely useless, huh?
Nah, but guess what we can do? Which is really funny.
Yeah, so in the future, if somebody calls up and has zero pertinence like that, you could just chuck them right away. I don't need that in my life in the slightest, and I don't know who's listening to the radio that needs to hear that in the slightest. So if you could be quick on the trigger with that, I'd appreciate it.
I will.
That seems really not pertinent.
That was kind of boring anyway. But as we were saying, you're correct about your thoughts about that. And you're more correct by saying that, ignorance is bliss. Oh, it's bliss in this country. And if you can just figure out why they're so ignorant, then we could.
I know why they're ignorant. I'm already trying to tell everyone why they're ignorant. There's neuro weapons being used against them. It's not their fault. I forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Such a good man.
I'm just letting them know there's some serious tech and some really weird spots on this planet. Is what it is.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what these people out there today actually do to help each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, the good news is that we did actually motivate the lazy, which we did see in that phone call.
Yeah, I mean,
So we're already accomplishing the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we can get them to get more intelligent, which we see goes par for the course now.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, you're dealing. As I always say, you're
lazy. If you're lazy in action, you might wind up being lazy in mind as well. And I believe that's where we get the term apathy from. And I understand a lot of folks don't like these words, and
might be above their pay grade
when
as
they get
say.
applied, especially in their direction at certain times. But the reality is words exist for a reason, and changing words, which seems to be an activity as of recent that's increasing. This is something that I speak to folks about quite regularly. Excuse me. Is why the need to keep changing what words mean. And that in and of itself is a mind game psyop. It's meant to confuse people. So they keep trying to, make the meanings of things be something else. And there are factions from back in the day that basically said that their intention was to confuse the American people. And they knew that when they manufactured enough BS and rolled it out through the propaganda machine, all they have to do is listen. Just like I was talking to you about that signal, that noise that you heard in the air, right?
Right.
Oh, we all thought we heard a sound in the air that night. Yeah, well, that's just, you were meant to hear that sound. And when they get a response back from all of the people that they heard that sound, they know mission accomplished. So when they seed society with disinformation, they simply just have to wait. And when they see that every word coming out of everybody's mouth is the disinformation that they manufactured, they know it's time to strike. That's been the plan, folks. When all of you spew nonsense out of your mouths constantly, and it's nonsense that someone else put in your head, you're letting them know a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's 100% true. 100% true. And the other issue I have is that what are we training our youth? I mean, we're not training them to be warriors of peace and warriors for this country. The ideology of patriotism is almost out the door, and you're leaving yourself vulnerable. And the vulnerability is because there are people out there that have no common sense, i.e., the phone number that came in. They're vulnerable. I mean, anybody out there right now can just, I could be a big old dickwad and say the phone number that came in, put it out there for the world to hear and know. I could be that person. But me, I'm a much bigger person. You know what I will do? I'll post it on the wall, and I'll let people have a whack at it, because, the listeners need to know that there's a phone number out there that you can go pick on. If you want to have fun. I'm the person that has fun. He's the person that says the serious side of life. And
I was dying. I saw a video the other day. I'm sure you've heard of, is it Steven Crowder? Louder with Crowder guy?
Louder Crowder.
Okay. This guy's funny. he talk about calling someone out. So apparently some troll dude, right? Digital combat warrior on the computer thing, makes all kinds of threats and comments on the internet about messing with this Crowder guy. And the dude apparently actually even threw up money. The dude was offering $500 on the internet for people to kill people or something. That's a crime. You can't just go on the internet and solicit murder. That's a crime.
Right.
But but apparently it was going unnoticed by the police force. But anyhow, this dude Crowder, because this character was setting up some sort of a protest, theoretically, this knucklehead was going to set up a protest. So Crowder was trying to contact the dude to attend the protest like a participant so that he could meet this dude, because this dude was all prophesized, and I'm going to take a piece of Crowder, right? So instead, the dude cancels the event, and Crowder just shows up to meet this dude at a coffee shop. He coordinates this whole meet and greet just to get in this dude's face and be like, oh, you said that if you ever got to meet me, you'd take me out. So here I am. I thought it was amazing. I was like, that's pretty cool. That's bold. And I thought, we don't teach kids to be bold anymore. And here I was watching a guy he was just being straight up bold. That's all. He was bold. He made this guy eat his words.
Oh, I love a person like that. I mean, most people out there in this world don't follow or practice what they preach. They don't follow the pathways to better themselves either. Most of them stay in their ruts because that's all they know. And they refuse to fight. They refuse to fight. They refuse to stand up.
But where are the parents that used to raise the children that could?
Oh, hold on. You remember the story, the little engine?
They were trained that raising kids that way was wrong. That was a psyop.
Yeah. They gave you social service. Big time psyop. And I mean, let's just be honest. How many of you people out there have ever heard the story, the little engine that could? I think I can.
Whatever happened to knocking a bully out? I think society has degraded since we've lost that mentality. We hear about, like, bullying has gotten to levels that it never existed when you used to be able to punch a bully in the nose when you were 7.
Yeah.
We didn't have to worry about kids in schools with AK-47s. It wasn't a concern. And you know something? I'm way more comfortable with kids punching each other in the nose at 7 years old than using AKs in high school.
I think I'm agreeing with you 100% with that, but I'll take it one step further. What happened to people that questioned their quote-unquote authority? Where are they?
Right, because they got taught that was wrong.
Don't question that preacher. The preacher knows the Bible better than you, but here it says this,
What
Mom.
happened? Let's go back to the parents again, because we can't blame the kids.
Can't blame them.
We can witness the problem for the children, but it goes back to the parents. How come parents deviated from allowing their child to punch someone in the nose when they were being bullied? Because we know what happened. At some point, the school went to a parent and said, you can't do that anymore, and parents acquiesced. How come? How did that happen? Because the parents should have been empowered to stand their ground. And what changed in society that took the power away from the parent and put it in the facility, when the facility inherently can't rectify the problem, because if they have to come to the parent after the fact and simply tell me the history of how my child rectified their problem, what I don't need is to them now preach to me about what my family's doing wrong. That's ridiculous.
I'm just trying to understand the society, and I still do. I mean, I'm actually thinking of bringing my show back, because I mean, it's still. I've been overwhelmed by BS.
Yep.
I've been overwhelmed by stupidity. I've been overwhelmed by authority figures just literally raping the hell out of my country, your country.
If one of your children came home and said that another child had straight up physically assaulted them,
oh, you going back over there
and
whip that child
responded in
ass.
kind to rectify the situation.
Oh, I give them. We got to have pizza and beer. Hell yeah.
Okay, so you would believe them. You'd say, okay, I believe you. I'm sorry that happened, so to say, but you'd have their back and be cool with it, right?
I'd be like, yo, you fought them, right? Did you win or lose? Well, back in the old days, you didn't lose. Well, I'm glad you stood up, but now you know what you got to do, right? You got to go back into training. You got to go, do some push-ups, some sit-ups, some jumping jacks. You got to do that, you got to get strong.
But now what if the school that your child did this in, what if they now came and told you that she now has to do things because of her activities? That now she's in trouble.
Say what? So what?
Understood. But that's, this is where society changed. This is the way that the world is now. You're not empowered. You're not empowered to do that.
And hold on. When did school start teaching me or telling my household how we should act, behave, perform, and what standards are they guiding us upon?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine the school district that you're in does not allow your child to even retaliate.
Correct. But guess what? Guess what my child going to do?
Understood. But then your child's going to get expelled and you're going to have to go somewhere else. Instead of what should be appropriate is that the child that started the offense should be in trouble. That family should be getting spoken to and dealt with in due form, in reality, to the problem as presented, instead of painting with a broad brush and trying to treat every single circumstance like another.
I say homeschooling is the best option, but even the school systems say, no, homeschooling is bad. And I'm sitting here like, what are we doing now?
Yeah. What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Homeschooling would be better. It would be more efficient.
It's not a waste of time.
Yeah, the kids would get more out of it. It would be better for the family unit and the community structure socially. Quite simply, what everybody's learning right now is what do we need school districts for?
Hold on. How about, well, you're a New Yorker. You know what time it is. Why are we paying for our taxes, including school districts? Why?
The numbers that I saw were insane.
I mean,
I'm trying to remember.
They can almost slap the debt in half with what they make every year.
I'm trying to remember correctly. It's been a while since I've seen the numbers, but my children were in the Bayshore School District in New York, and if I remember correctly, they were astronomical numbers. It was something like the school district was paying like $150,000 per pupil in the district.
Where?
In New York. It was some crazy number. And I just remember thinking to myself was, wow, if they just simply gave us the money. Right?
That's what I want to say.
If you got $150,000 per kid, that's a $300,000 income for the household. I'll teach both my kids, and they'll get I'll bring them to the museum. I'll bring them to this. I'll get a van. What is going on? even if it was half that. Let's say I'm off. Let's say I'm off by the numbers. Let's say I totally screwed up. It was $75,000 per kid. So now we're still looking at $150,000. That was more than my and my ex were making at the time combined. So it was like, geez, just give us the money. We'll take off from work. We'll have a great life raising children. And wouldn't that be good for the family? Wouldn't that be good for the community? I mean, you could damn near just tax into a community proper family units by just not making everyone go to work. And if you have kids, you just stay home, raise your family, make good kids. But that would be too easy.
That's way too easy, bro. I'm sorry, man. You can
make child rearing like a job in as so far as like you could like qualify the kids and test the parents. And if it turns out the kids ain't producing, if the parents aren't producing good kids in society, you could theoretically grade them on that. Be like, your kid's got poor manners. He doesn't know how to tie his shoes. We're cutting your funding.
We're going to cut you about $10,000. Yeah. They don't even do that to the school district, so they shouldn't even do it to the parents. The bottom line is, even if it was 150, I know, example, Western New York, it was 97,000.
There you go.
And I'm trying to
97,000, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where $97,000 went to.
What if we just looked at the school districts in their entirety, top to bottom right now? Just call a whole area. Seriously, Long Island is a densely populated area. You can take Nassau County, Long Island, and just look. at what is Nassau County paying cumulatively to educate the children in the county, and now take that amount of money and tell me you can't figure out how to take that amount of money and teach all those kids without them having to leave their homes or be in some other more local community, like on their block. You know, like you take turns, like one head of one household is in charge of education for the day, and there's some module that they all jump onto a computer for a couple hours, and then they all go on a field trip to something that's pertinent to the topic of the day, and they learn in an engaging way with the people in their community. Whoa, challenging.
I mean, I think people need to wake up.
I mean, that would cost like millions of dollars less than what we're doing now. You'd get rid of all the school buildings, all of massive infrastructure. I've done a lot of plumbing work in school districts. Here's something that people don't know. Redundancy. You're paying for savage amounts of redundancy. If one school needs 6 monitors or 6 of this, then this one needs 6 and that one needs 6. And guess what? No one's using any of them at any given time.
That's right.
Things should be centrally located and request chits put in and distributed as needed. Not every single place needs every damn thing on standby for stuff that's not getting used anyway.
An example of that. Right there in PG County, school, I'm not going to name it. They have 194, was the last count, computers. But he only had 2 classrooms, each classroom holding 32 students for that grade level for the computer. That's how many? Okay, everybody's getting your math together. You got double the computers for students. Triple. Damn. 4 times the amount of computers. And they're just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. I know what they're going to say. Well, what if a computer breaks? Or what? Or, we might need it for the professor. Oh,
what if it doesn't? What if you don't? Then it's a waste of money. That's the answer.
And hold on. Now, what happens when the computer ages out? It's just like
what happens when 12 computers age out that you wasted? Now, instead of just one that you wasted money on, now you got 12 that aged out because the what if never happened.
Yeah, what never happened. It's just like saying, I have these pair of shoes from 1932 that I wore in 1954, and these are good shoes. But hold on, I put on a pair of Nikes, and gee, really, boy, I can run. Those people never put on the new Nikes. They never use those computers. Now, hold on, just to make it worse. There ain't no students in the school. And those computers are just sitting there.
Right.
And why are schools that have no students in them have their power on? Have that broiler running? Come on now, people. Have that water flowing. Oh, hold on. Administrators, are they going into all those classrooms, sitting there for 8 hours?
This is similar to the scam of industrialization of the workplace, right? It was supposed to make things more efficient so that the human beings would need less engagement in the activity of laboring, of manufacturing and producing and working. That was the idea of industrialization.
All right.
The idea of the internet and computers, the idea was it was going to make us smarter and educate us differently.
I'm laughing for a reason because you said.
Why was everyone getting dumber? And education is exactly the same. There's really not that much more computer interactivity in the classroom. It's not happening because of teachers' unions and the entrenched engineering of the school districts. You're telling me that we don't have brains in this country right now that can overhaul school districts and societies and education with all the new technologies that we have, both hardware-wise, software-wise, and this is a new toolkit. And you're telling me that with all of these new tools, we can only figure out how to do the job basically the exact same way.
Well, hold on now.
The most expensive way. We have to take all of the children and bring them to the resource, even though they already have the resource in their house.
A computer. Oh, they got it in their hand.
Knowledge. Sorry, teachers. You've lost your role to a piece of hardware.
Hold on.
We don't need teachers anymore.
We're going to fade
I'm
them
sorry.
out. We're gonna
Not
fade
in a
them out?
classroom environment.
Oh, my God.
How many teachers do we need to teach the children every day? Look at time zones. We could have one teacher in the East Coast teaching math. How's that? And everyone can just jump in and watch. Right? How many teachers do you need? We'll have a first grade math teacher, a second grade math teacher, a third grade math teacher, and a fourth, and we'll have different subjects.
Mhm.
It'll be like school, but a fuck lot cheaper.
Yeah. Wow. You
What a
know,
novel concept.
you know something? Are you trying to tell me you're going to let technology take their jobs where they sit there and they feel like they're somebody?
Everyone keeps asking for technology, but they don't realize what they're wishing for.
Hold on. Now, you have to also include every one of those kids got cell phones that has Google.
Yep. All of the dreams of the past are in the hands of the people today, and yet no one's reaping the benefit. How come?
Because we have lost our souls to the words of the man.
I thought you were going to say that you lost your soul to rock and roll.
Oh, well, hold on. I almost did it, but I can't do it today. You know, what's really bad is that even you go to these fast food places, you go to a computer, and you don't have to go to the customer service counter. That means you can cut down the staff in the back.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the self-serve instead of, the service area where you put your stuff on the counter when you go to the grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
That feels good. I mean, I like self-serve because it moves quicker.
You know who else is under threat because of the new modern world? General practitioner doctors.
Oh, my God. Are you telling
What do you
me?
need that for?
I could do it by internet. Hey, you got me on camera? Doc, I got this on my arm right here. Can you see it? Can I get it closer to the camera, Doc?
It doesn't even really matter technically nowadays. All you really need to do is contact your insurance company, because all they're ever really doing is telling your general practitioner what to tell you as a conduit. He just takes your information, goes to them, and then decides what's covered and what you can do. So all you really need to do is just go to your insurance company, tell them your symptoms, and they'll tell you what they'll cover and what specialist to go to. You don't need a general practitioner anymore. It's a software program in an insurance company.
Don't tell them that. Oh, my God.
It's all you're allowed to have, folks. It's already happened that way.
Don't tell them that. Leave them blind. Let them spend all that money. Hold on. Got to go back to
Your general
insurance.
practitioner's hands are tied. He's not allowed to actually make a decision. He can only check to see what's your insurance company is going to allow for you.
But he can give you pills. Lots
He can
of
give you
them.
tons of pills. Prescriptions for pills all day long. Pills.
Yeah, it's the secretary at the front desk. She's the one typing. He's just standing there.
It's all good though. I think people have the blinders pulled off their eyes in 2 days, because no matter what happens, we're going to have 50% of the people livid, which was always the plan. That's been the plan.
They want to.
Doesn't matter who wins. 50% of the people are going to be angry. The other people are going to say, you have no right to be angry. And then the angry people are going to say, how dare you say that? You want to fight? And then the other people are like, yeah, we totally want to fight because you guys are wrong. And it doesn't matter which party you insert to which side. That's going to be the outcome.
I want raisin bread. No. I want cinnamon raisin. No. I want chocolate bread. No. I want wheat bread.
Let's fight.
Let's fight.
That's the plan. To get the let's fight to show up afterwards has always been the plan.
Mortal
What about right now? What about right now? Looks like there's going to be an amicable January 7th.
I've been screaming Mortal Kombat.
You know,
that works.
Well, if there's a combat, what are they combating for?
The
control
prize.
of your mind, Ramona.
The prize is your mind, Ramona.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the prize, baby. And guess what? Hold on. I'm gonna. Hey, Eric. I'm gonna one up you on that one. You know what else?
What's that?
I don't want just her I don't want her mind. You know what I want? I need to keep the slave in her position. So I'm gonna one up you. You say you're gonna give her $800 a month. I'm gonna give her $1,001.
There you go. That's how you enslave someone. Correct.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Come on,
man.
Ramona.
Well,
You
I
need
didn't
that
get
money, baby
anything,
girl.
so
Ramona by giving her $600, but if you're going to give her
I
$1,000,
didn't get anything.
Well,
So-
hold on. I'll make sure you personally will get it. As your representative, Ramona, I will personally make sure.
Yeah, send me yours.
I will personally make sure you get a check, okay? Hold on for a second. Let me get your address. Hold on, let me give it to the secretary.
Just deposit it to my PayPal.
No. I got to let the secretary handle this. You know what I'm saying?
I heard that back in the day that was a tactic Hitler actually used technically, that he would show up to the colleges and he would roll in barrels of beer and stand on top of them and give out free beer. So, I mean, paying people off for votes has been kind of common practice for many parties.
Ask
for
New
years.
York.
Yeah.
We've all seen it. If you've been in New York, you've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, corruption's
Am
just...
I the only one here that believes that really none of the votes actually counted? That we don't even count in this game?
That's an illegal election, Ramona. You said our votes don't count. How dare you open your mouth and part your lips? Girl, you need to learn. Your vote didn't count, but I'm gonna let you know it did.
I don't even think. I mean, I pretty much think the situation around you answers that question, Ramona.
And the
So,
electoral
you
college
think
is
your
in
vote
my
counted?
pocket.
Did you vote?
Yeah, I voted.
Voted? So I didn't vote.
Yeah, I
so
voted.
I mean, I feel your vote didn't count, but I feel I didn't vote for a reason because I already knew my vote wouldn't count. I've been
You
saying.
know, I voted the last election and this election.
I have a question. Real quick. Now, who
Other
believes?
than that, I didn't vote.
Who
I even
believes?
wrote my thesis on not voting.
Okay. Who believes Bernie Sanders lost to Hillary Clinton?
You mean in a legitimate sense? You mean?
Yeah, in a legitimate sense. Who believes
It's not
Bernie
even a
lost?
matter of belief. They've already confessed to the erroneous activity. You don't have to believe. Bernie Sanders was robbed of a legitimate win.
So
That's a
now. So did I answer your question, Ramona? About your vote? Okay. Do
I
you
didn't have a question about my vote. I said, am I the only one in here that
No, you asked if the
believes
vote
our
counts.
votes don't count?
Oh,
Period.
oh,
That
I
they
believe our votes
already
don't count.
know who they want sitting up in that house
Mhm.
and ruling,
Yep.
and that we're just going through the motion,
Uh-huh.
pretending like it matters.
Correct.
That was my statement.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Because I agree with you 100%, because I'm going to let you know, as I've said before, the president is nothing more than the head of the military and a very hardworking secretary.
A puppet.
A secretary.
A puppet.
He's like a CEO for the nation of the United States.
But all he does is
Corporation
paperwork.
of the- He's like a CEO. He's like a face.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do anything.
No.
But a lot of folks put a lot of blame and responsibility in that seat when they should actually be looking at their legislators.
Ooh, did you say that? Don't say that. Don't say
Right.
that. No, don't tell them that.
That's how the country is run, and that's where the lobbyists show up and where the big bucks come in. And
Do you think the
That's-
lobbyists actually show up for the president?
say that again.
Does the lobbyists really show up for the president as they used to way back when? I mean, but
No, and they didn't used to way back when. Those weren't lobbyists.
oh, those were-
Lobbying is a new thing. There wasn't a way back when to it. It's a new sin on the American people.
Uh-huh.
And even if the president were to be getting lobbied, he does not make laws. Legislators do. We live under a rule of law, not under a rule of a president.
Ooh, hold on. Did you catch that, everybody?
It doesn't matter what the president says.
No, he can say anything he wants 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He can go on Twitter and say, you know, my feet stink.
He's almost powerless. He can make recommendations. for laws to be made, which are effectively what an executive order is. It's a recommendation. Because he's not able to make laws. He's in the executive branch, not the legislative branch, folks.
He's not Congress. And everybody still, hold on. Did you ever wonder, Ramona, why all the people in Congress wanted to point their fingers at the president? Why Maxine Waters and the rest of those people in California want to say the president?
You always, you know, Daryl, if you really believe what you say, then you wouldn't constantly be bringing up Democrats. You wouldn't constantly be doing that. You'd say the people that are in there.
No.
But you talk as if you really believe
they are all
that,
dirty. They are all
I want to hear you say it. Say
all the legislators are dirty. There are a few that are not. I got to give a few. There's got to be a few in there that are not. But the rest of them, look, you got a whole family in California that's doing legislating.
That's nothing new. That's nothing new.
As they did in Texas and many others. That's illegal.
I think
that's nothing new.
Isn't that, Ramona? That's what we're both saying, is that it's both sides and it's nothing new.
No, Daryl doesn't say that. Daryl is constantly pointing fingers at Democrats because he's a MAGA.
No.
But other than that, I try to say that they are all dirty. They are all crooked. They are all bought. I don't care who you put up in there, because in order for them to get up in there,
you had to pay the price.
They've been bought. And they owe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then let's put it out there, because it seems like she calls you out. Odin, you think that the current administration is going to fix everything or not?
I think.
No, I never thought that.
No,
I just wanted to get an idiot.
I'm asking Odin.
And was hoping they get the rest of them with them out of there.
Hold on, Ramona. Hold on. I'm asking Odin.
Okay.
Odin, do you think the current administration that's in there right now has this figured out and is going to fix everything on the 6th?
Yeah,
honestly, it's going to be the hardest thing in the world to fix, because the elections for House of Representatives and Senators have almost all passed.
I'm not following what you're saying.
All the states have already gone through their House of Representatives and Senators. The thing I think is going to be changed will be the voting. The voting is a farce. We all know it's a farce, and it's now proven by the 147 senators or congressmen in the House of Representatives.
Technically, hasn't been proven to anyone in the court of law anywhere right now.
That's the problem.
As of right
That's
now,
right. Absolutely right.
The vote is for Biden, Odin, unless you can tell me that the current administration has something up their sleeve.
Yeah, something up the sleeve.
Yeah.
Understood, but then you have to admit that you believe that or not.
I believe that if the current administration finds, it is rigged.
He believes Trump really won.
Rigged.
We know it was rigged. We all know it was rigged.
The current administration can rectify it.
Can he rectify it? The only way to rectify it would be to remove the House of Representatives and the Senate. Clean house.
And the Senate.
And do you think they can do it? Remains to be the question.
That cannot be done except
I get
unless
battle going on, and I get all the different battlefield tactics that could be applied. What I'm asking for is who you believe is going to be the victorious person.
As president?
Yes.
Honestly, I think that I hate to say it. I hate to tell the truth, saying devil. Okay. I think Nancy Pelosi is going to take it.
Fair enough. So you think it's going to be a full-on debacle? I get it.
Nancy Pelosi is going to take the title. She's going to become your president, because if there's only one way, that's the order. That's the order of events. Unless
some folks saying that.
We throw out.
So then you actually don't believe that the current administration is going to effectively defend the position for which you previously stated had plenty of evidence.
There is plenty of evidence, but like I said,
so you think the
but the problem is, no, it's been proven. The evidence has proven that the thing was a scam. I mean,
I'm not arguing that. I'm agreeing with
I'm
you
trying to let
100%.
Ramona know that the machines were used in all the
Oh,
South
they've
American
proven,
countries.
they debunked that those machines were not. No,
Yes,
no.
they have.
Come on now.
Those are the same machines
Yes.
that were used in Germany. Same machines used.
Oh
in
my God! Come on.
So, Odin, I got a question for you. You
Okay.
seem to believe that the election was completely rigged,
From the beginning,
Right.
we know it was.
right? Okay, so yes is a perfect
Yes,
response.
is the perfect answer.
You believe that the election was completely rigged.
Correct.
You also said that you're prior military and took an obligation or an oath, correct?
Correct. To defend my government against all enemies,
Against all
foreign
enemies,
and
foreign and domestic. So your election was
is
rigged.
That's
And
treason.
your party that you just stated before could prove that it was rigged is now about to lose.
Not necessarily.
And I presume you don't actually support the placement of Pelosi post-presidency of Trump?
The scam was already written. You know how they play the game is. You know
do.
the game of politics is something that it goes deeper than it's a game of chess on a 3D level. They already
But
know
why
what the
just
two
this
heads are.
election? Why are you so hard up on this election?
Because I've seen our national policies change for the better. We're not losing.
Oh my God!
Hold on. Where are we losing that, Ramona? National, our national policies and our international policies. Where are we losing?
Let me tell you something.
He does not affect your state.
This is the one thing that I do know, that the United States has not won a war since World War II.
We slapped the shit out of people in
Okay.
Afghanistan.
And why are they still there? And another thing, without allies and just by ourselves, we are nothing.
Boy.
We need allies, and all of our allies have been dispersed.
They need us. We don't need them.
We're the youngest country.
Hold on.
We're
We don't
the
need no
youngest
allies.
country.
We don't need no
You know,
allies. They
these
come to
other
us.
countries have been around for thousands and thousands of
We
years.
could take one aircraft carrier and sink the whole damn Middle East, honey.
But we're not the only ones that have
No,
them.
no.
Ramona, you're just getting
Technology.
right into war and war and war. What are you
Because
talking
we
about?
don't
You're
need.
like, who can
We
wipe out who?
we
That's not the whole
have it.
point of this conversation.
We
and
have
what
the
needs to be
technology.
told
We are the
and
scalar
who-
technology.
I mean, we
No,
should
I
war.
was
So
responding
winning
to how
wars-
our
winning wars isn't the
international
goal of an
policies have
accomplished nation.
gotten better, and I'm trying to figure out where.
Winning
That's
wars
what I
is
was
not the
responding
goal of
to.
an accomplished nation. Avoiding wars
War
is.
Right.
So I don't even want to get into a bickering contest over whose butt we could kick, because that's not the point.
Because we're not going to
That's
do
not
it.
what I'm talking about.
It sure is what you made it about.
War.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I wanted to know what international policies were made better
DARPA.
under Trump.
We stopped fighting
That's my
wars.
question.
We haven't fought a war.
Stopped wars. How
We
about
have not
that?
had a war.
We are in the middle of many wars that he stopped.
He stopped
I think that's
all
great.
of them. Think about it.
You seem to want to go to war and win wars
I don't-
as a matter of national pride. I'm against that
So
concept.
then all of our
I
people
I
are
am
home.
a proponent of removing
Right?
our standing armies. How about that one, Ramona?
Oh, I'm not in favor of that.
I am.
And our embassies and everything else.
I
Bring
wouldn't-
everybody home.
No.
Yep.
Bring everybody home.
Hold
We don't need to have embassies out there either.
Well, then
know?
then you do agree with me that we don't need standing armies.
Right.
There you go.
There you
so
go.
we don't need standing
There-
armies.
No
But
war.
So we
they're
don't
not
need to
home.
be winning wars. You agree with me.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't want war. I've
I
seen
don't
it.
want war either.
I
I've
want
been
the
there.
truth
I've seen it.
told.
Okay, so now you wanted to know what Trump did good. He stopped wars. So you agree that stopping wars is good. So now you know something Trump
Wait a
did
minute.
good for you too.
Everybody home. We don't need to have embassies out.
We have to have embassies and representatives to meet the other nations. We
Why?
have to have greeters because if not, we'd become an independent territory, and then that's called isolationism, in which we were going into during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I could have sworn we were headed that way now.
No, we're not. People still travel in and outside this country.
Well, they sure do it less and less. I'm sorry, 2020 has definitely
They hurt a lot. I mean,
on the entire planet.
Yeah.
I like traveling, and I'm sorry, this is not a world to travel
that's
in
not-
right now.
no,
There are
it's not.
many restrictions on people's freedoms of travel.
oh my
Folks,
God.
more attention to that.
You can't even go on an air. Listen, I was on an airplane.
I don't need a medical test to get on a plane. I don't need an inspection. I don't need a pause. I don't need to be harassed in my movement through my country. Technically, as an American citizen, I'm protected against such harassments. And everybody needs to understand the affront to your rights that is going on right now.
So what
The ability
happens when?
to travel, right, in a freedom.
Oh yes. So what?
Well, I mean, people have the countries have their rights to deny who they want.
I'm not talking about
They
another
come in
country.
there.
I'm talking about my state.
Your
I'm talking
state.
about my own country, Ramona.
Yeah.
I'm limited on where I
Oh,
can travel.
inter country travel.
Interstate.
I can't take responsibility for other people's nations and their citizens. I'm talking to Americans right now about American issues, and my travel
Right.
as an American has been throttled down because of other people's fears. That is not the way our country's supposed to work.
And to
I'm
make it.
supposed to be protected from the fears of others through a representative republic,
And
not a wild mob democracy.
oh God, no. And to make it even worse, that when you think about it, in Australia, you can't go between each province, each state. Here in the United States, if we try to do that, say I went from DC and I want to go into Virginia. No, I got to cross this line to go into Virginia, and I have to go get myself. You got me
How long
twisted.
before you're not allowed to cross a county line?
How
or a
long before
town
you use
line?
your
How long before
passport?
you're not allowed to leave your cell to go to your neighbors? I mean your house. Before you're allowed to leave your house to go to your neighbors. I didn't mean cell. People, trust me. You're not already imprisoned.
No,
It's
you're
just
not.
a figment
Nowhere
of your
near.
imagination.
This is the Matrix.
You're completely free. Don't make any mistake about it. I don't want to, confuse anyone. You're as free today as you ever were.
But not
You can
tomorrow.
simply test that by going outside at any time and making sure things are exactly like the freedoms you had when you were a kid.
That's beautiful. I like that.
Damn it, I'm wrong. Actually, I'm totally wrong on that. I actually screwed that one up.
Yeah, you did.
You're not free. You're totally enslaved.
Hey, go give your neighbor a hug.
I
Hold
forgot.
on.
I forgot what year it was.
Try to go give your neighbor a hug. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah, get out of your
Hold on.
cell.
I gotta go hug my neighbor.
Yeah, get out of your cell. Go see what cell number 2 is doing.
Hey,
Well,
hey.
we still
the
talk
warden's
to our
speaking.
neighbors here. I don't know what you guys do there, but we still talk to our neighbors here.
You touch them?
Yeah.
You hug them? Did they
I
cough?
heard them before.
Did they cough?
They're Republicans.
Did they cough? Did they cough? Oh, they're Republicans. Okay, they know the deal. You know the deal. You know the thing. You know the thing. Hold on. That was the Constitution. But you know the thing. I mean, it's a shame that somebody does that. That hurt my feelings, and that really that's when I cut ties with Biden. When he said, come on. You know the thing. That got me. I looked at that when I was watching TV when he did that. I looked at my mother and I said, I'm done. You know the thing.
What did he do?
He said, you know the thing, when he was talking about all men are created. You know the thing.
Oh, geez. That's the one way to quote Bible scripture.
Yeah, I mean, it's like.
All men are created. It's in that book. You know the book.
You
That
know the
book.
book. That thing. You know the thing.
You know that book.
Yeah, you know it.
That Christy book.
Yeah. That thing. The one that everybody signed. No. That thing.
Not for nothing. Like, seriously. Like, not for nothing. Like, playing devil's advocate here. Okay?
Okay. We devil's advocate.
I want to ask the Democratic people of our country. You really, truly believe that Joe Biden's the best you have to offer?
Oh, my
That's
God.
the best you can come
No,
up
they
with?
don't.
Oh, they
They
do.
don't.
That's your
Yes, they
candidate.
do. They think he's Jesus.
That's your candidate.
They think he's Jesus.
They just think he's better than having a lunatic in there.
No. That's not the question. That's not the
That's
question
not the
at all.
question.
If they think that what they can bring to the table is better than that lunatic, no problemo. My question is, that's the best they got?
That's the
That was
worst.
the best they
I got
had.
a problem with the
Listen.
lunatic on the other side of the table.
I-
No
hold-
No doubt in my mind they have a problem with that man. The job for them now is to bring the best they have to go against it. I'm thumbing my nose at all of their faces that's the best they can bring to the table. That's hilarious.
That was the best. That's what was left over after all
Every Democrat in the United States of America, apparently, they agree Joe Biden's the best.
The oldest man there is.
I could do myself personally.
You could ran
his political forum and do better than him. I know that with beyond a shadow of a doubt in my mind.
But hold on, you didn't bow and kiss and suck too many people off to get your position to become president. You didn't buy out people and spend
not
money.
really pertinent to the equation technically. That's how you get the job. I was talking about how you get the job done.
Right.
I'm saying I could get the job done better than he could.
Thank you.
And I am
like you guys have been saying, that it's not the president that does it.
Also be able to
So
find somebody that
either it's the president that does it or not.
What was that?
I said what you guys have been saying for the last hour and whatever is that the president is nothing but a secretary. So what difference does it make?
A secretary that runs our military. Have you seen us at war?
Well,
I'll answer the question. The difference that it makes in this equation, as I presented in the hypothetical, is that the Democratic Party clearly feels there's a guy in there that they want to remove. So that's what matters, is the intention of the Democratic Party to remove said lunatic. Now it goes back to me criticizing
and all the rest
Democratic
of them.
Party for their selection. That's what you don't want to discuss. That's what I'm trying to discuss that you're avoiding.
What? No, not only him, but all the rest of them, which I don't understand because there were some Republicans, obviously, that voted for Biden. Otherwise, he wouldn't have won.
I don't know that at
I don't
all.
know that.
Technically.
I don't know that.
I
So
don't
you're
know
saying
that.
that the only reason
Technically.
so now you're saying that the Democratic Party is so screwed up that the only reason they have Joe Biden is also because of the Republicans. That's messed up.
Well, it would have to. Well, if you do it critically thinking,
So
there's
Biden
no
is a
way
terrible
that
candidate,
Joe
but it's
Biden
not
could
the
win
Democrats'
and
fault
those
that he's there.
same assholes still be up in the Senate. So obviously, something, if you critically
It must be the Republicans,
thinking,
Ramona.
It
It's
must
got to be the Republicans, right?
The Republicans are becoming Democrats.
somebody voted those Senate
Joe
in
Biden
there.
is the Democratic nominee for the party, and now you're blaming the Republicans for that. That's awesome.
No.
That's awesome.
We might as well have Hillary Clinton run. I mean, Grandma could do a lot worse.
Must have been- I'm blown away on this one. It's the Republicans' fault that Biden became the Democratic candidate.
Because they had to vote for him.
No, not the Democratic candidate that he became president.
Joe
Biden didn't become president.
He's not president.
And
Well,
it
he
also
will be.
isn't the Republicans' fault. You're wrong. You're saying it's the Republicans' fault that he became president. He'd first have to be president by becoming nominated, and I'm thumbing my nose at his nomination and stating that his nomination is the end result of the activities of Democrats, and you're saying Republicans.
Well, the people they conceded they didn't play it out to the end, conceded and gave their votes to Biden.
Bloomberg could have
Democratic
bought the
Party
election.
put Biden up as their candidate. Do you not follow this?
I'm following it, but what the hell difference does it make?
Actually, it was Bloomberg that put him up for
How come they couldn't find someone better than Biden?
Why didn't Bloomberg run?
He did.
And hold on. Why didn't he just continue? Because he could have sucked the money out of everybody.
You need to ask him. How in the hell do I know why he chose not to continue?
Because
How in
they
the hell
already
do I
chose
know why
Biden.
Democrats pick a maniac like Joe Biden, who's a kid toucher.
Kid toucher.
And then they say, well, because Donald Trump's a maniac. Really? That's a terrible excuse to nominate someone for your party to just go against someone else. So your methodology is hatred. So you pick candidates because of your level of hatred
it could
for
be,
another one?
because I do hate him.
But,
yes, I do.
Hold on.
And I hate
But
those
you're a Christian.
And I hate those that
You couldn't
back
hide
him.
that behind a concrete
And I
wall
hate
and post
those
it
that back him.
You hate
Because
his
I
guts.
think they're just as sick
It
as he
biases
is.
every word coming out of your mouth.
It's bias.
Well, I'm admitting to that.
I get it, but it's
well, hold on.
obvious that you
What is
can't
the hate
actually-
from?
You can't actually have a conversation where your party is considered for respectable dialogue because you just come back with hatred.
And that's not my party. I voted for him, but that's not my party. Do you assume that?
I'm not assuming it. I'm going off of it because of the information you're giving me. It's a very safe position for me to put my feet on right now.
Okay.
So what is there to hate about Trump?
Oh, God.
Did he
If you have
cook you
to ask
din-
that
did he
question,
cook you
I'm
dinner?
not going to waste my time explaining
Did
it
he
to
cook
you.
you dinner and he burned the
I
toast?
understand 100% that you hate Trump. What I don't understand is how you can exclusively hate Trump and how you can't know any of the good things that he did, that you have to ask Odin for answers to that question, which shows me that you actually haven't done due diligence to understand who the
But
man
maybe I don't
is. You're
think
simply
that's such a
following your
good thing.
biases day in and day out.
That's what the
And
same problem with the.
as if you're not?
But that's.
As if you're,
I am
not?
I am not.
I mean, there's things that Trump did and things that he did wrong. But
Exactly.
he did not.
Exactly. I'm
But
pointing out both
international
sides of the
policy.
coin.
International
Yeah,
didn't-
this
policy.
is what it
didn't
is.
vote for
I
him.
am
I
so
don't
sick
support
and
him.
tired.
I'm not in
I'm
the
so
party.
sick and tired of these Trumpsters constantly, it's almost like a broken record.
They're not
Oh,
Trumpsters.
Joe
They're
Biden
patriots.
is a toucher. Well, as far as I'm concerned, they're all that way. But for some reason, you seem to overlook
Mhm.
the
Right. So
fact
what's going on here,
of
Ramona, is you
everything.
presenting
But
your bias.
that's the big thing. He's a toucher.
What has
Ramona,
he
you're
done?
presenting your
all right,
bias again. Your bias is hanging out.
What are you?
Yeah.
What can you
Hey, I
say
am
he did?
biased
All right,
against that.
Hold
You
on.
called this show to attack Trumpsters because you have a bias and a hatred.
For
You
Trump.
presume with your bias through your lens that I am a Trumpster.
He's
You
not a
presume
No, I
Trumpster.
don't.
Trumpster. You
No, I
called
don't.
him out on this show.
No, I don't.
He's not a
No.
Trumpster.
Call
and
him out for it on the show tonight. I've heard you.
Trump. I mean, listen to the words.
You straight up called here
I'm
looking for a
sick
fight.
of
You literally called here
talking
looking
about
for a
him.
fight.
Trumpster.
You represent the
I
Democratic
didn't bring
Party
him
very
up.
well.
I
You're
didn't bring him up.
You're operating from a bias. You're trying to shove your opinion down my throat, and
I'm
then
not.
you stand my
I'm
ground
telling
by
you what
maintaining
I'm
a
sick
difference
of.
opinion. You're saying that I'm doing the
That's
same
not-
thing as you, which is not true in the slightest. I'm not doing the same thing at all.
But come again. Rethink that, Eric. Rethink that.
I don't have to rethink it. You're coming from a biased position. You called into this show with a bias that you admit maintaining.
I didn't call into this show talking about Trump.
Understood. But yet here we go. So you're biased.
Yeah, but I didn't bring Trump up. I didn't bring that up.
Fair enough. I don't got the ability to
So-
go back and roll tape. But regardless,
Yeah.
anytime
Yeah,
any
but
news comes up,
after your
have-
show, you go
have
and
a
look.
side
I
that
did
you
not
push
bring
from.
Trump up.
you have a side that you push from because you admittedly have a bias. You said it.
Yeah.
I don't. So we're
Yeah.
not coming from the same position. I don't have a political bias. So you can't say we're doing the same thing.
But it seems like you are.
And I'm telling you, you're wrong. Whereas you admitted you're doing something, right? I made an accusation and you admitted to it.
I mean, I'm
So we're in
just being
agreement.
honest.
Then
Whereas
accused
you're
me of
not
something,
able
and
to.
I stood
see-
my ground and said no. So no, we're not going to play that game.
Sorry, I had to pee.
It's all good.
Yeah. Go Pete.
No, I just finished. It was a blazing thunder. It had red, white, and blue coming out.
you go.
The problem is everybody relates Trump to Trumpsters, and because he has a following or whatever, it's an angry mode. Or maybe Trump did something
And that's
personal.
why I don't like discussing him. And I wish this,
not
I
discussing
should try to
him.
I'm
gear
just
it back
saying,
to
Joe
I'm not
Biden.
discussing
original
him.
Hold on a
subject.
second. This is baloney. I was discussing Joe Biden and you brought up hatred for Trump. So this is garbage, Ramona. I was straight up
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
Yes, he was
Don't
talking
oh my
about
God me.
Biden.
Cut it out.
Oh my God.
All
We were
right,
talking about the Democratic candidate choice that has nothing to do with Trump.
right.
Okay? So you straight up brought it to Trump. Cut it out. You're in the wrong.
I'm just going to say this. Now, all I had to say was there was policies that we needed to change. Obamacare needs to get the hell out the books because there are people right now suffering worse on Obamacare because they ain't got no job.
I've been saying through and through, both sides are correct.
Obamacare was mainly for those who had no insurance.
And guess what? They still had to pay. They had to pay.
Because they didn't have insurance and they got on it.
Ramona, do me a favor. When you're on my show, try not to talk over me, please. I understand I have a tendency to do that to other folks.
This is not the Wild Wonder show yet. But hold on.
I mean, because if you want to do it like that, I'm going to stomp all over you. I'd rather look like more of a gentleman. But I'm in the middle of saying stuff. And what you're really doing is you're just not listening. You're coming onto this show with a bias. You're asking questions.
I didn't come on
you're not listening.
They pay.
You're saying that you didn't bring up Trump. I'm in the middle of a discussion of saying how that's exactly what you did. You're saying that you don't have biases. You're saying that you're listening, but all you keep doing is presenting a bias and not listening. And accusing me of doing the same thing. When you ask me questions, I attempt to give you answers. But you don't want to hear it because you'd like to say that I'm a Trumpster. When in reality,
I didn't say you were a Trumpster. I said Daryl was a Trumpster.
You seem to have an affinity for the Democratic Party, a bias that you admitted. I'm trying to take that bias down a notch by showing you that that party is equally poor at doing political things, and you're getting defensive and attacking Trump as if that matters in this argument, as if I'm a supporter, and as if I'm offering that as an alternative. You're simply...
Well, Eric, I know you're not a supporter.
You're not acting that way in the conversation in the slightest.
But I was directing my statements to the person who was making the comments, which is Daryl, who's sitting there very quiet now. Maybe you didn't hear.
You're sidestepping because you're ignoring the fact that I keep bringing this right back to a conversation about Democrats that had nothing to do with Trump
voting for Trump.
And now you're saying stuff like, well, Daryl said this. Well, that's not true, Ramona. You're changing the subject.
I responded to Daryl.
I just made a simple statement that, number one, Trump's national policies worked for the country very well, took us out of a dark hole that we were losing everything in. Number two, Obamacare, as I was stating before, was supposed to be free for all, but most people were paying up to $900 to $1,000.
Trump's been there for 4 years, and if you can't find one thing that he did, Ramona, that's good, that's on you. That just shows your bias. If you really hate the man that much that you think he's done nothing good.
Well, see, this is the thing, Eric.
I'm not a supporter, but I appreciate that.
I'm getting ready to answer you because you just put out a question to me.
Go for it.
There is nothing that Trump did that affected me in any kind of good way.
That's on you for not knowing it. That's exactly, you're supporting my position. Thank you. You don't know what he did for you that's good yet. I understand that. Thank you.
There's nothing that he did.
I understand. Thank you for reminding
me. Affected my life in a good way.
You have not looked into figuring out anything that he did that was to positively impact you. You're proving me correct. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
However you want to spin it.
There's no spin on it.
You know, just take exactly what I said, that there was nothing that he did that impacted my life in a positive way.
I understand. I get you. I hear you loud and clear.
I'm not in the military, so if he stopped wars, it didn't impact me.
Really? So that tax money, that doesn't impact you, all that budget? It's the largest single line item in the American budget is the American war machine. So you can't correlate that if we had no standing army or less wars, that's positive impact in your nation's budget in your pocket?
You know, when the troops come home, when they're all home,
you're not answering questions, you're being evasive. When this and when that, I keep putting info out there that you're not biting on.
Are the troops home?
Great.
And are the troops home, Eric? Are the troops home, Eric?
The wars have been stopped, Ramona. The wars have stopped.
All they are is
the troops home? Yes or no?
Ramona, I'm not going to play your games. You have a bias.
I
And you
just asked you a question.
I'm not answering it. I understand what you're doing. You're playing games, and I'm not going to play
You
a fool by her folly.
Yes or no?
I was taught to not play a fool by
I
her
missed
folly.
that.
And you're playing by folly. I'm not going to engage
Oh
your
my God.
shenanigans.
Well,
You can't find anything good, and I'm not about to convince you because no matter what I say,
I'm not
you have
even
a
looking for. I don't even
bias.
want to
So
discuss
I'm going to agree
Trump.
that from your hateful bias, you cannot possibly figure out or see anything good that man did in the last 4 years. That is not a negative testament to that man as it is much a testament to your negative perspective.
That's fine. There's
There
plenty
you
of that
go.
out there.
There you go.
But the
You have a horrible outlook on life.
But the problem is this, and I have to ask both of y'all for 1 minute. The problem I have is it okay to have that negative outlook and go destroy other people's property or destroy other people's hopes and
Nothing
dreams
to do
and
with the
businesses? Or
You're being incendiary. That's a silly question.
because
Silly
it doesn't
question.
work.
Your incendiary statement is about an incendiary topic. The immediate answer is no.
No.
Next topic.
And so the bottom line is to
5'10".
hate a person is not the way.
9-10.
9-10. We okay. There's no show out.
You're okay.
Oh, you're okay?
No, you're okay.
But the one
I don't want to get
thing that
into
I
this
was-
bullshit conversation
Okay.
and this incendiary crap and all
But
this
the one
politics
thing-
every week because we get
There was
nothing
one thing
going
that
on
I did
talking
want
about
to bring up, and that's what I
bullshit.
called in to speak on,
bullshit.
was
Bullshit.
that you were discussing the computers and
Bullshit.
things
Oh, these
like
shows
that
are
in the
ridiculous. I can't even
schools.
put these on my air. They're worthless.
Anyway, you were talking about the computers in the
done.
schools
Show's over.
and the
Let's wrap it
software
up.
and stuff like
Let's
that.
wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. I'm done with this one.
Well, I guess today we've learned that,
That next week is probably going to be different.
it's going to be very different. And we're not going to talk politics whatsoever. And we're going to
I
have.
don't know what you brought me on this show for, and I don't know why Ramona calls in and wants to talk politics. This is called First
I
Life,
didn't want.
not any other bullshit. I
Is
don't know.
there anybody out there
This
listening?
is bullshit.
I did not bring up politics.
I'm talking to Odin. You don't get it,
He
Ramona.
did.
You don't get it.
I did not bring up politics.
You always do. You make everything about Democrats, Republicans, and Trump. And Odin, you
Oh
support that. Don't let Ramona on the airwaves again. This is bullshit. You're setting me up.
Well, good
I
night,
did not bring up
everybody.